Good morning to all who are not hungover sufficiently to be still in your bed. Oh no, you can watch us from your bed if you like, we don't mind. It might be interesting for you. Uh, anyway, Pat and I are still alive, at least I'm alive anyway. Pat, are you still alive after yesterday? I heard you went on an
I'm still very much alive.
enormous bender taking in Donegal, Derry, parts of Tyrone. Is that true?
Jude, I spent St. Patrick's Day sitting on my couch watching the TV. Jude, I don't know about you, Jude, I really don't. But many years ago, I went to a St. Patrick's Day parade, and I said to myself, this was in Letterkenny, but we'll come back to Letterkenny, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I went down the street, and if your thing is watching tractors and lorries and whatever going down the street, Jude, to say I was beyond bored as putting it mildly. Secondly, it was cold, and thirdly, due to singular lack of imagination or whatever, I just said, going, wait a minute, what's in it? Why are there huge crowds here? People have parked away miles to walk here to see this, etc., etc., etc. Dude, I saw nothing in it. Now, there's some people
When
love
was this,
parades.
Pat? When was this? Was
That's
this?
maybe you're asking maybe the wrong person.
But
What's it?
when was this? You're making you're saying stuff that
About
stuff.
That's about 30 years ago, and I've
Yeah.
never been at one since.
But you see, they have changed enormously. I remember the time when I was in Dublin, there used to be a few tractors trundling past the GPO, and that was about the size of it. But now
Uh,
the parade in Dublin is
uh,
amazing, absolutely amazing. The number and variety of marching bands and girls twirling batons and lapping around and big giant puppets and stuff. I wouldn't. It's like the Giant's Causeway. It's worth seeing, although not worth going to see. I couldn't. I no way would I stand at the side and freeze, or even in good weather to see that. But I am impressed by the fact that it's in every town in Ireland and in major cities throughout the world. That's really quite something. There are very few other
there must
nationalities
be a
who have
certain
that.
type of uh, yeah, but there must be a certain type of people who like parades. I'm just not one of them, Judy. I have no interest in standing under one spot. Oh, there's another band. Oh, Jesus, that's brilliant. Oh, there's another big balloon. Brilliant. Couldn't give a shit. I
But
really
what,
couldn't.
Pat? You did not
I
watch it
couldn't
on
care less.
TV.
Yeah.
They did not watch it, but to put on
Oh,
TV.
interesting.
No.
No, all them people turn out to watch the Orange Parade, on the 12th of July. I'm going, Jesus, I better think.
Uh,
By the way, I wouldn't be
but
invited now
that's a
because of
slightly different
my
thing, I
background.
think.
But
I think that's a bit different.
yeah, but no, but another way that people stand out for hours to
Yeah.
watch one band after another going past,
Uh,
going, good Jesus, is that, the sum total of your life?
well, that I agree with you. I wouldn't do that. But clearly, there's a taste for it, or people wouldn't be doing it, and it's all over the
That's
world.
the
Every
point I'm
bloody
making.
city
Yeah,
you want to mention has got that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
do you feel the same sort of disgust when you see the Arc de Triomphe or whatever lit up in green? Does that say?
No, no, there's someone that, no, no, that's different. Like the Sydney Opera House was lit up in green, the
Yeah,
Arcade Train, but no, that, and,
and
so
lots
on.
of
And
other
there's,
places
there's something a
too.
wee bit artistic about that. And you can admire that from a distance, dude. I don't have to sit in all hours to look at it. By the
Uh,
way, we did say we start off. I grew up in Letterkenny, and I consider myself a Letterkenny man. There was a
mm.
terrible tragedy there on
Oh
Sunday
yeah,
night, early hours
yeah.
Monday morning. And actually, I don't know him well, but I know the family, the young fella, the fella who was killed, and his brother. They were out for a couple of quiet pints on to celebrate St. Patrick's night, sort of thing, early
Uh-huh.
hours in the morning. Walking home, two totally, completely, utterly innocent people, nothing to quiet people, lived their lives quietly, well loved and respected, going home. I don't suppose because now I think somebody might have been charged, so we better be careful about what we say.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah.
apparently, there was an incident, and they got knocked down. One is dead, and the other has very serious injuries, including, I think, lost at least one limb.
That's
So God
shocking.
bless them.
Yeah, shocking. I mean, I like you. I don't want to say anything given the fact that the case is still sub judice. But there have been cases here in the north where young guys in cars have been pursued by the police and have very often ended up with a guy crashing the car. I think now I'm not saying that happened later, Kenny, by any means, but it just brings to mind that whole thing. How do the authorities react if they know that somebody is a boy driver, a boy racer? Um, the notion of him chasing somebody like that is, to me, is abhorrent. I mean, do the police or the guards not have intercom? They're not able to talk to their colleagues who'd be on the other side of, say 10 miles away and say to them, put up a
Aye.
roadblock,
Well, dude, in fairness, I don't think that's what happened in this case.
No, I'm
What's
saying
I
it
know,
just it sort of
but
triggered
having
it
said,
for me.
no, I know you said that. No, but I don't know. So, right. So I'm just making it clear. I don't know what happened. In fact, I don't
Yeah,
think anybody right now knows, not
yeah.
including I think the Gardaí. But anyway, you're dead right. That thing about in the past there have been in the north particularly there've been car chases. Remember there used to be remember stealing cars was a big thing in Belfast years
Hmm.
ago. All this sort of car. What was it was almost like a ritual a rite of passage for young
Hmm.
fellas
Hmm.
stealing cars. But anyway, remember quite a lot of them ended in fatalities. The idea was that the police could get ahead of them and put out what they call a stringer,
Aye.
across the road or whatever
Aye.
it is. I think that's what they call them.
Stinger,
And then
stinger.
the wheels would drive a stinger, is it or
Yeah, I think
a
it's a
stinger?
stinger. I
I think
think
that's
it's.
what a stinger. Yeah, stinger. And they would bust the tires. But they all said a story. I remember years ago talking to Garda, and we were chatting about it. He says, "Well, what will we see somebody driving at 100 miles an hour through a built-up area? Are we just supposed to let them go?" He says, or do we go after and try and stop them? So it's a dilemma for the Gardaí as well.
Oh,
And he
no,
says, well, the alternative is if you after the Gardaí let the guy go and they knock somebody down. The first thing the hue and cry gets up, oh, the Guardian saw him and they did nothing about it.
I'm not sure I buy that, Pat. I think the Gardaí are in communication with each other, and presumably there are other guards within, say, a 10-mile radius or whatever. Uh, couldn't they contact them and then simply put a couple of cars parked in the middle or of the road or put one of these stingers, as you say, and do that? It's just that if the cops start chasing a kid, that's going to bring out the competitive
Yeah,
and flight, as distinct from fight, flight instincts of the kid, and they'll drive themselves into an early grave, is the long and short of it. I just don't think police should
yeah,
pursue. Besides which fact, I think if police are pursuing that young kid, now you've got a double danger. The kid could hit somebody, or the cops could hit
yeah, yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
It's just awful.
yeah. Well, and there have been cases down south where the Gardaí have killed people, and if I remember correctly, when they were pursuing other people.
Oh,
Pretty
that's
certain that has happened.
that is ridiculous. Why doesn't
Uh,
I mean, if that's the case, and it is, I am pretty sure. Why haven't the guards or the PSNI got together and said, "Look, there's a problem. What should we do?" and work out a policy where they're not keeping on doing the same bloody thing, which is having bad effects. Um, Ways of stopping people.
uh,
I
but
suppose the stinger.
yeah, the English police have a lot more experience because they have the big motorways and so on.
Yeah.
And have you ever watched some of those programs, the reality programs,
Mm,
Yorkshire Policing or someone Highway Patrol or someone that's called, and you see
yeah.
all these guys doing 150 miles an hour being chased by the cops. But they have a lot of resources, including helicopters and so on.
Mm,
I
mm.
don't think there's a police helicopter anywhere in the
No,
northwest, as
no, I
far
don't think so.
as
I don't
I'm
think
pretty
so.
certain there isn't.
But
And
I
as well as
still,
that, Jude, if you think of Donegal, very, very, very remote, the chances of getting scrambling another police car very quickly in rural Donegal is about nil.
well, I really, well, this shouldn't be the case because, as we've agreed in earlier
No, that,
sessions, the Donegal roads are very picturesque, but they're also, winding. And
yeah,
because there's that danger, there should be Gardaí there. There should be assigned. There should be more of them assigned than, say, in a place that doesn't have those kind of roads.
yeah. Jude, by the way, to digress, I had relatives from Scotland staying with me over the weekend, or staying with us over
Hmm.
the weekend. And I'll not say where they went to a parade because I don't want to get anybody into bother, but they went to a parade yesterday in
Yeah.
a certain place.
Hmm.
And the two wee girls, one's 14, the other about 10, come back to the house and they were laughing away. And I said to the mother, laughing, this is there's a wee guy driving a tractor in the parade and he's about 10. Dude, you should ask yourself, is it legal?
Oh, that's not illegal. It is illegal, certainly. But I mean, there's a long,
Yeah,
long tradition. I remember when I was a kid, you go out to
yeah.
farm, and inevitably, it's some wee scoot of a kid hopping onto a tractor and driving it out of the yard or onto a field or whatever. That was almost, you talked about a rite
Maybe
of
maybe the wee
passage.
fella.
I just thought it was kind
Yeah,
of amusing, but I suppose it would
but
be
the
a
wee girls, these
danger.
two wee girls are. Yeah, these wee girls are from Glasgow,
Yeah.
and the city girls. And the one thing that they both, and they were absolutely totally amusement. And I think they thought he was about 8 or 9 or 10.
Well, that's right.
Sort of thing, that
That's the
sort of
kind of
age group
age.
could have been
That's the,
eight.
yeah, yeah. But have you never come across that yourself?
Yeah. I did, yeah. But you hold on. This was in a bloody parade through a town, and I'm sure there were Gardaí sitting watching it.
Oh, well, that's a bit different, all right. Legalizing it, you know.
I'm
Um,
not saying where the parade was, so I don't want to get anybody into trouble. But I had to
okay,
laugh, and the fact
okay,
that the two
okay.
wee girls laughed, yeah. But
But
yeah,
anyway, we're back just very briefly before we leave this topic. This thing of deaths on the Donegal roads is just outrageous. It's a national scandal, I say. You know,
absolutely,
the
absolutely, it's
police,
scandalous.
the government know that the problem is the roads. Now, you either convert the roads so that they aren't winding, or else you make sure that they're policed in such a way that you don't have people crashing into each other and dying. This is ridiculous. This is citizens' lives at stake, and yet it's just allowed to keep happening.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jude, let me tell you someone. The Gardaí, in many ways, deserve a real slap in the teeth for some of this stuff. I'll tell you what. For years, Jude, I was going up to Letterkenny, and there's a dual carriageway on the way into Letterkenny. You
yeah.
would find the Garda patrol car at the roundabout with their dryer on. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. It was, and that I'm sure that got some superintendent as numbers of
Mm.
speeding. Well, look, we've gotten discovered our so many speeder drivers this month, and statistics would be sent up to the headquarters in Dublin, and that fulfilled the criteria and whatever. But Jude, and the other thing was, well, this drink driving, what they were doing was they were at about 7 o'clock in the morning when people were going to work. They started putting breathalyzers on ordinary people going to shooting fish in the bar. Jude, they should be on some of the back roads where people are doing 100 kilometers an hour, where it's totally dangerous. And they should be out at about 12 and 1 o'clock at night, because that's when the vast majority of accidents. I
Of
don't buy
course.
this crap that somebody said, oh, about 10 or 15% of accidents happen in the morning. I've yet
Yeah.
to see an accident in the morning. Most
No.
accidents happen in the middle of the night.
The great, overwhelming majority. I guess it's just as you say very often, cops just trying to get their record looking good. You know, we're out and about that we stop these people. Really sad. Anyway, God be good to the poor guy that died, and God forgive the people that put up those bloody some of those parades yesterday. Because some of them were just I sort of felt well maybe I shouldn't have felt sorry. A lot of these bands were marching bands from the States, and I sort of pitied the girls because they were
Yeah.
scantily clad, and it was a bitterly cold day yesterday. So
There was a what do you call it? There was a parade. Was it 4 or 5 years ago, and it was -2 and 3, and Dublin that day. And by the way, Jude, I've been in Dublin where the one comes off the Liffey and it's as Baltic, and
yeah,
these wee girls, because they've on their skirts. There's no way. Like I feel like have on trousers and a coat, but these marching bands, this is part of the whole appeal. Those wee girls, they must have been
yeah,
absolutely frozen. Jude, I
yeah.
think that's a form of child abuse.
Uh-huh. Well, you what? Were you watching TV last night? Were you watching RTE or what?
Oh, I watched a thing called the Shamrock Tenors uh,
Yes, yes, good
on
man,
BBC
Pat. I
Two,
saw
which
them
one?
too. I
Yeah,
watched them. What do you think? Have
yeah,
you seen them before?
yeah, yeah. No, I've never seen them before.
What
No,
do you
no,
think?
someone like I'm not the biggest fan of that type of, but the guys, they had superb voices, absolutely, and their harmonies were a superb. In fact, they're sort of. I would much prefer. Like I'm not a big fan of the Clancy Brothers type, everybody singing together.
Hmm.
But sometimes when they sung those soft folk songs,
Yeah.
Danny Boy and so on, it was beautiful.
I thought last night I had never heard of these Shamrock tenors before, and when I just sort of idly tuned in, and God, I thought they were terrific, and I thought their choice of song was very
Yeah,
good too. They had one about Belfast. Now,
mm,
inevitably, people with from
yeah,
Belfast will play "And Tell Me Ma When I Come Home," and so on. this was a
Well, they sung
song
that as
about
well, I think,
Belfast
at the
and
start.
coming home to it and the things that call him. I thought it was beautiful.
Uh,
I really did. And I
and my
thought,
wife is sitting beside me, and she says that song would bring tears to a stone. She says, if you're from Belfast.
that's right. That's right. And I thought the girl, they got a young woman in to sing Fields of Athenry, which I thought was done beautifully. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost a hackneyed song now, but
Uh,
it's still beautiful.
her name,
Really.
I even remember her name, Jude. She was called Mairead Carlin.
Well, good for her. Good for her. She did it nicely, you know. She didn't overdo it.
Uh,
At the same time, you could see it was
yeah,
genuine emotion in there. I thought it was lovely. And I thought the Irish dancers were
yeah,
very good too.
yeah.
Did they dance
Brilliant,
without music,
absolutely.
Pat?
Yeah.
Did they had they music behind them, or were they just
No, I think they did at the start, and then music come on. But it's Shades of Riverdance, no, the
aye,
tapping,
aye,
and then the
aye,
music came on, as far as I remember. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But they were
yeah.
very
They
precise.
were
I mean,
superb.
very the timing was brilliant.
Yeah,
And I thought the young guy with the
yeah.
beard, the sort of central figure of the Shamrock Tenors, I thought he was very at ease. You know, he was a real pro. Without he was a guy obviously who was in
But
charge, but
he was the genius of the group.
yeah,
He could play the guitar, he could play the boron, he could play the piano, and he played, was it a pipes or something? He was
yes,
absolute
yeah,
genius.
yeah. Well,
And he was a very good singer as well.
they all
Talk
seem to.
about a multi-talented guy.
To put the cap, well, there's two caps to put on it. One is that there was a stress on it that it was a cross community band from the north. That
Yeah,
is to say, there were some
yeah,
Protestants among that. Woof! My God.
yeah.
I mean, that's from an objective point of view, that's good. That's good. That factor shouldn't even enter into
Well,
it.
remember they sung Red as didn't they sing Red as the Rose? Isn't that a Scottish song, isn't it?
Aye, but it was actually, yeah, I'll take the high road and you'll take the low road. That's what it was. I was trying to recognize a tune, and then
Yeah,
they sang that verse. I remember my mother
yeah,
singing that when I was a kid. Um,
yeah.
so I thought it was lovely and that they were very adept at what they were doing. But there was an irony, I thought, and it was in the Ulster Hall. Now, the Ulster
Uh,
Hall has been the venue for many historical events, including rallies for what was it called, Paisley?
the Ulster Volunteer
Resistance or
Force, or what?
something?
I remember Paisley script went up the mountains with their gun licenses. What
Well,
is it?
that
I
was
can't
that. But
remember the name
I
of
think
them
this is another occasion where they were wearing red berets. I seem to remember.
now. That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, is
Uh,
it? Yeah, oh, maybe
uh,
that was part of
uh,
it. But certainly, I think I have a
uh,
suspicion if you go back to the signing of the Covenant, that the Ulster Hall might have featured there as well. But last night,
uh,
all
it
signs
was,
of
it echoed
colonialism are
slightly
gone.
different. But by the way, Jude, our his contributions to St. Patrick's Day was playing The Quiet Man for the 1500th time. You know,
Tell me,
Jesus Christ,
Was
Jude,
that BBC Northern Ireland, Pat? I didn't know. I didn't
now,
realize. Was it BBC North?
BBC Two Northern Ireland put on the Shamrock Tenors.
Oh, very
Yeah,
good. Did you see the singing priests, by the way, about 2 nights before?
I caught the tail end of it. Tail end of that. Yeah.
And what
By
do
the
you
way, they
think?
two brothers.
There's two brothers,
I only caught the
and
last 10 minutes.
there's one guy
They
who's
got quite
not.
emotional. They got quite emotional at the end.
Well,
I got about the last 10 minutes. I remember the woman. I don't remember. She was a big fan there. She was a record producer or an agent or somebody.
aye.
Remember, she said the record they were doing quite nicely, and they were about to release the record. And about the same day that they released the record, the Ryan report came out about what
Aye.
he called.
That's
And
right.
talk about being holed underneath the waterline. They were absolutely sunk because who was
Yeah.
going to buy
Yeah, but
People
they
even said
still
that,
managed to
let's get us
sell
on the
three
record. They
million
sold something like
records.
3 million records.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely.
I admire them. I think the music is. I mean, I admire kind of from a distance. Let's make the comparison: the Shamrock tenors and the priests. Both highly skilled, both very precise in their harmonies and all the rest. And I'll have to confess that I don't warm to the priests, and I say that in a quiet voice because the one of the priests, the tall one, is our parish priest, and I know him reasonably well, and he's a very nice man.
That's
And
you excommunicated. Uh,
I just thought that he was, dare I say it, I thought he was of the trio. He was the adult in the room. Um, My brother who was a curate in the waterside, and they used to live in the waterside in Derry. And they said he used to give a lift to
Yeah.
the woman, their mother, who was the church organist, and the two boys used to be
Organist,
there
yeah,
as
yeah,
well. Um,
yeah,
yeah, they're very good, very commendable. And I'm delighted for them that they had a part, something, a dimension that other people didn't have, and they were able to exercise their talents and their abilities. Um,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I felt at one point Father Delargy, the third of the priests, said it was somebody
Mm,
asked, an interviewer asked him something about being a priest, and he said. Well, I said I never wanted to be a priest, uh, but I felt I had to
mm,
become one. I couldn't make up my mind to it. Well, I did actually. I sort of admired this heroism there. So he was saying it wasn't
mm.
something he wanted to do, but he felt it was the right thing to do. That's an astonishing kind of a thing when you think about it, where you give your life to do
Yeah,
something that you don't really want to do because you feel it's the right
you
thing to
do,
do.
but you think it's that's what? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's amazing,
By the way,
amazing.
it's a tough life being a priest. There's no doubt. Yeah. But
Well, yeah,
no, by the way, the two, I think it was the two brothers
yeah.
came down to the journal one day and they gave an impromptu performance. And
Mm.
I have to say, they were brilliant. Their
Uh,
voices were superb. Now, Jude, it's not my type of music. I'm not going to try
no,
and
no,
claim that
man,
it
yeah.
is, but they were very, very good. They really were. Now, I'm not just being patronizing, they were superb.
The three of them went to Garn Tower as boarders, and I think that was partly
Yeah.
Father Delargy said that was they started singing there, and I'd say that was a sort of a salvation for them
Mm.
because I know that well they didn't say it, but I know perfectly well boarding schools in those days were not very nice places to be. They could be very,
Yeah,
very
there were
rough and rough.
concentration camps, Jude.
And
That's, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
you were indulging in the finer arts, such as art
yeah,
history or singing or that kind of thing, you could
yeah,
very easily come in for bullying. Anyway, anyway,
yeah.
anyway, I thought I was interested in the priest thing, and I thought the Shamrock tenors was superb, and I can't wait to check them out and see what other things they've recorded.
Mm,
I'm assuming they have recorded stuff. Okay, let's move from there,
mm.
Pat, to, oh God, oh God. And then this is not up, this is down, down to one Conor McGregor, who, when Trump was asked who was his favorite Irish person, clearly a planted question, he got a reporter there, make sure you ask me this question. And he said, oh, Conor McGregor. What do you think, Pat? Was that a good choice?
Someone I rarely felt as much disgust as I did yesterday about it. Here's this guy. Like my views on him are he's been convicted of rape.
Mm,
He's a thug. He's a sort of numbacy, and he's a racist in my view. And I
mm,
like you sue me. Like he went up and he says our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people and all this sort of stuff. Dude, there's a certain element of truth. We do have issues about
mm,
overcrowding and housing and all the rest of it. But
mm,
who gave him the platform to represent us at the White
mm,
House yesterday?
mm,
I thought it was despicable. And
mm.
there's Conor McGregor, who was convicted in a court in Ireland not that long ago. Standing up there representing us, and like, let's get this clear. Trump also has a record for sexual assault, so
You
maybe birds
something
of a
in
feather.
common.
I remember thinking, yeah, like Trump seems to Conor McGregor, the Tate brothers, Nigel Farage, all these people, right wing, whatever it is. He seems they all flock together. They don't. Not in my name. Conor McGregor does not speak for me.
Mm,
He's not elected. All these people who are these anti-immigrants, they stood for election. Not one of them got elected. They don't speak for the people of Ireland.
mm. That was a point that Simon Harris made. Did you see him? He made the point with some energy.
No, I didn't see him. No.
Well, he came on and he said, yeah, President Trump's entitled to have whoever he wants to visit him in the White House, and that's fine. And Conor McGregor's got
I
every
saw him
right to
saying that.
go
Yeah,
there if he
yeah,
wants to.
yeah,
But he's not
yeah.
speaking, he's not representative of the people of Ireland. Nobody voted for him. He ran down the number of things that McGregor wasn't. And he was quite clear that
Yeah.
he disagreed with McGregor's views. Um, I thought, do you know what my mind went back to? Charlie Haughey. You remember Charlie Haughey the time that
Yeah.
Stephen Roach won the Tour de France? Charlie Haughey
The Tour de France.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlie High was there like a bullet, to be standing beside him and getting some of
Yeah.
the reflected glory. This was kind. Of the other way around. Conor McGregor, I would say 80%, let's hope, at least 80% of the Irish people felt sick to their stomach when they saw Conor McGregor with Trump.
Yeah.
And I thought that while I agree with Harris what he said, I thought it was sort of political opportunism once again, only this time in a
Yeah.
good cause, so to speak.
Yeah.
Geez, where do you start with people like that? And there's pictures,
Hi.
of him with his arm around Trump. You
True.
know, I
Yeah.
feel
Jenny, I wrote it down. Our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's time that America is made aware of what's going on in Ireland. Give him the
uh,
right to make a statement or to slam our country. And thank you for not interrupting me there. This, Jim, you I am absolutely amazed that the people who are being given platforms, dude, go on, you explain it to me because it was something me Flabber was gasted yesterday because they were going, what and under God is this clown doing representing us?
Well, here, hold on a minute now, Pat. We wouldn't want to be too sore. I mean, I detest the guy. I detest him. And I'm sorry that so many people
Mm.
were able to hear his views because there are people who, if they see somebody on TV or if it's written up in the newspaper, they think, oh God, that must be right. So I do detest him. But let's be serious here. We have a little platform of our own and we use it to disseminate our views.
Yeah,
Isn't McGregor entitled to, when he can get a
mm.
platform, isn't he entitled to
Dude,
disseminate his
no,
views?
no, no, no. He went in.
No?
He went into this guy's a cage fighter who's
Mm.
got, as far as I know, no track record on anything other than being a bit of a thug inside. He goes to America, to the White House, and makes statements on behalf of the people of Ireland. If I went in on my
I know,
behalf,
did he
the
say
statements
that,
on
Pat?
behalf of the
Did
people
he?
of
I
Ireland,
don't think he
I would.
said that, Pat. Pat, be fair.
Jude, well, let me read. Let me read that again for you. Our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's time that America is made aware of what's going on. In other words, he is the guy over to tell Americans what's going on behalf of the people of Ireland. Now, who do you think he's speaking on behalf of?
I a wee bit harsh, I think. But anyway, if you're going to be harsh and somebody, you picked a good target as far as I'm concerned. As
Yeah,
harsh as you like about Conor McGregor. They really, I
yeah,
did a blog on that, and I ended it with
yeah.
the Irish phrase "Aithne and Kira Gala." It takes one dung. I like to translate that as being, it takes one dung beetle to know another dung beetle, and I thought that's exactly what
Young
the two
people,
of them
yeah,
were.
yeah,
Incidentally,
uh,
I'm just thinking about this because I came across a reference to it. Paddy's Day, we're very proud of being Irish, and we feel we've got a right to be proud, and
yeah.
we love our country and so on. Oh, you love your state, but I love the whole country. Uh, uh, but but
Did you never miss
I,
an opportunity?
somebody referred to George Orwell. Now, I'm not sure what the context was, but I'm very interested in George Orwell. Always thought he was a very interesting writer. I don't think he was a very great writer. I think he was a great journalist, but I don't think he was a great fiction writer.
Yeah,
But this person pulled out this Orwell speaking about nationalism, and I just wonder what your views were.
yeah.
Here's what Orwell had to say. He said nationalism is identifying oneself with a single nation or other unit, placing it beyond good and evil, and recognizing no other duty than that of advancing its interests. What do you think of that as the definition for nationalism?
I don't quite agree with that, Jude. Like I am very proud of being Irish, but don't tell me that I can't criticize it or don't that the only advancement of Ireland's the only thing. Jude, I am very interested in things like what's going on in Israel and or in the world. I am
Mm.
not a no. See that sort of thing. I don't buy that. Okay, maybe Hitler and maybe that clown in the White House. America first, to
Mm.
the exclusion of all good and the exclusion of international law, fairness, decency, humanity, and all
Mm.
that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I don't buy that definition, Jude. That the only thing, if you're a nationalist, the only thing that you're concerned about is the advancement of your nation to the exclusion of all other things. It wouldn't be my definition of nationalism.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Pat, actually. And I mean, I would protest the right to be proud of my country. But, and I feel that very
Uh,
strongly, actually. But if you stop to think about it in history, there are people who say, oh, religions, should they cause so many wars? And there's some truth in that. I think it's exaggerated, but
yeah,
it is true that religious wars have been fought over the
yeah,
centuries. But most of modern day wars have been fought by countries, one against another. And we can see two
yeah.
examples of that here.
Nationalism is a big thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So nationalism is a
Absolutely,
very
Jude.
handy thing to
Yeah,
stoke up, blood, which will then emerge in bloodshed. And I
yeah.
wonder, would the world
Well,
not be?
Jude, nationalism. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. Well, no, you go on. You go on. You go on. Go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say.
No, nationalism, Jude. Nationalism in Germany started at least two world wars.
Yeah. Well, you could
Well,
say that.
certainly
Yeah.
the second one anyway. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, well, Trump is doing a great job, and in America, basically saying the white people in America, America first, and he's like all protesters nearly now been slammed down on. By the way, there's been a couple of deportations from America, even ignoring court rulings
but
and so
that
on.
that
So you sort of say, there was a doctor. She was, I think, I can't remember. She worked in a hospital. Apparently, a real expert in kidneys, but
mm,
she's Palestinian, and she was deported despite the court saying that her deportation should be put on hold. She was deported yesterday. Now the Trump people are saying they didn't get the memo
mm,
type thing from the court. Her lawyers are saying they deliberately made sure that they didn't get the message and so on.
mm,
So there's now a
mm,
big issue between as Trump acting ultra vires of the court. In other words,
mm,
he's got more powers than the court now. Like
mhm.
that's straight on fascism.
Yeah.
By the way, just now to mention this, Did you hear him yesterday saying that CNN and as MS NCBC or whatever the hell they call it, the other one, that
Yeah.
they're illegal because they're criticizing them. That was a straight up forward criminalization of saying that the people who attack him are criminals.
Well, I
He
tell you
said they were
something, Pat.
illegal.
This is a like I think we've moved away from nationalism. What we're talking about is a perversion of nationalism in this case. But I'll be honest now, I am beginning to get seriously worried. Except something happens, Trump is going to change the entire nature of government in the States, and
Yeah,
it's going to be the
America.
president.
Yeah,
He is signing these affidavits or whatever they are, hand over fist, and deciding this will happen,
executive
this will happen,
orders.
this will happen. And he's proud of it too. He does it in
Yeah.
public. And there are enough idiots who think that that's a good idea. Cut out, these bloody Congress and senators talk about it. Go straight to the point.
I've had people coming on and said, "Oh, he's a strong leader. That's what America needs." He said yesterday 97.6%. Now, where the hell he got that figure from? That CNN and what is it? MSNBC put out is anti him, and it's what they're doing is illegal, etc., etc. In other words, he's saying, "I am above criticism." The other thing is, well, dude, so see those executive orders, like, so, like basically they are. They're overriding. There's supposed to be checks and balances in America that the president has a certain amount of power and the houses of Congress. He has totally upended that. He is signing these orders, and there seems to be no oversight. In fact, there was a guy on the other morning, a brilliant guy. I don't know his name now. A Democrat. He's saying there should be other people. He says if Elon Musk, if what he's doing is so right and so legal, he should be sitting over there under scrutiny from us. And he says the Republicans who control us won't even call him in. So, Jude, the checks and balances have disappeared in the American democracy.
Yeah. Well, it has been a deliberate act. Trump really has succeeded enormously well in what he set out to do. I think the fact that he has succeeded, that he ever was elected, is a terrible reflection on the American people. But as I said to you one day,
Yeah,
I've chatted to some people, and they're the nicest people, quite smart, and they think Trump's a good guy. I have a feeling these are would be good
yeah,
Catholics, I would say, and it might come from the notion that somehow Trump is more a defender of non-abortion, as it
of
were.
faith.
That could be at
Jude,
the root of it. I'm not sure, but
how long have we left? How
no
long have we
time.
left? How
About
long have we
30
left?
seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
Aye. Do you want to say?
That's
Do
all
you
right.
want to tell
No,
me
I
something
always thought.
important?
No, but I thought that's like it's like in America, it's like getting on the Titanic twice.
Okay, Pat. With those wide words ringing in my ears, I think we'll say farewell. And I'll
Yeah.
see you, I hope, on Friday.
Farewell,
Okay?
Jude. Yeah.
Okay, all the best.